So Matt is on, Burl, were you saying there was no link on the website?
It looks like somebody just got it.
Okay.
I think it still says, well, it did say, it still says special meeting. It doesn't say that it's the committee.
Okay.
But the date and the time got changed and the link got updated. Sometimes I wish I could just do it. Then I don't have to bug everybody.
Yeah.
You don't want to give me that access. I don't want that access.
I think it should be good now.
Okay. Matt, do people know it's the committee meeting for COVID?
Yeah, it got changed now.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
And I don't know who uses their calendars, but their calendar will always have a live link to it also.
I mean, for anyone external.
Oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense.
I'm subscribed to the Zoom channel, but I feel like people ask me all the time, how do I watch whatever? Like, I don't think most people are subscribed to that Zoom channel. And you couldn't find it on YouTube by searching because it's not, like, the title of the channel is not Gehanna. I know Jennifer's not going to be here tonight and Daphne's not going to be here tonight. And I don't think Matt normally comes. So the only person I'm not sure about is Brian, but I think we're fine to get started. Is there anyone else you are waiting for, Jill?
Mm-mm.
Okay, then why don't we go ahead and get started? It is 6:31 p.m. This is the COVID/student learning and I'm going to flip it. This is the student learning and achievement /COVID committee. Here from the board is me, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Mrs. Elliott, and let you get started. Thanks.
Excellent. So we are excited to bring back some teaching and learning information today into our community committee meeting. So I am going to start with the COVID portion of it. I think it will be pretty quick, just have some data updates and just want to share some general updates with the community. And then I'm going to pass it over to Tia Holloman, our director of curriculum, and she's going to share a little bit about some of our summer experiences. So I am going to share my screen. Uh-oh, Matt, can you make me a host? There we go. Okay. Okay. So I always like to start just with the reminder about the conversation prompts that our COVID task force has outlined. We have some thresholds that are apply both at the district and building level. And those are the student absence rates and the staff absence rates. And then we also have 2 thresholds that are just specific to the district-wide level. And so I do want to call attention to the school spread evidence threshold. We had some discussions in the task force last week related to, over what period of time would we be looking at this data to trigger that conversation related to learning model changes, because we are starting to see some increase in some of our school spread data, and let me clarify, possible school spread data. And so we just wanted to make sure we qualified it a little bit more. And so we did add that previously it was just at greater than 25, and we added that over a 10-day period qualifier because that's essentially like the full cycle of a quarantine. And so, those are the data points that we as a task force continue to monitor. So I will run through our district data related to those thresholds. So our student absence data, again, and this is COVID related absences, we set that threshold at 10%, and we are doing a really well in this data point, staying below 3% for our student COVID absences. So you can see that's kind of a 3-week glance. And then working into our staff data. So I want to explain this slide a little bit. We have our threshold for staff absences related to COVID set at 5% or greater. And you'll notice that we, have no bars essentially, except for a small bar on April 21st. And so I added a little note off to the side that we have had some absences due to COVID among our staff, but that has accounted for less than 1% of our staff. And so that's why it's registering at 0 on these bar graphs. Nonetheless, it's a very positive data point for us. And certainly we know many of our staff members have been vaccinated, and so that's definitely helping as well. But staff absences is a strong data point for us as well. This next slide connects a little bit to what I was talking about related to seeing an uptake in some of the possible school spread. And of course, we use the word possible because there are so many variables, and our school nursing staff does such a wonderful job with the tracking, but you can never exactly, guarantee essentially. And so we try to err on the side of caution. And at this point, we are at 10 possible positive school-related related school spread cases. That's dating all the way back to January 5th. And so for quite some time, we sat at 0 and we went to 1, and we gradually have increased a little bit. So we are at 10 at this point. I will shift that data point in the future weeks to focus just on that 10-week period so that we can be watching that threshold the way we set that criteria. And then the second number there is 5 possible positive cases related to athletics and extracurricular spread. That's since April 5th. That's when we started to kind of delineate this data. And I will say we are at 5 last week, so we haven't had any new in the athletics extracurricular spread data point since last week. So that's a positive for us. And then this last threshold that we watch is our substitute fill rate. And, it is really critical that we have staff in order to be able to operate our schools. And so we do have that threshold set at 75%. When we are at 75%, and dip below, it becomes very challenging to, staff our classrooms. And so this is one we have to definitely monitor. You will notice that we do have some lower numbers on Fridays, which is typical for us in the spring. And we are pretty consistently staying over 75%, but we might have 1 to 2 days per week that's going below. And then this chart is a newer chart that we've started just monitoring, and this kind of shows our overall positives and quarantines, both in our student population and our staff population over the last 3 weeks. You will notice that we have had a little uptick on the 19th and the 26th. Those happen to be Mondays, and so in processing with Sue Wigging, our director of special education, who works really closely with our nurses. We typically have families, they wait to report their Friday quarantines or positives. And then of course their weekend reporting comes in on Mondays as well. So you can see those are a little bit higher on those couple days. We do have, some positives happening among the students, but we're still relatively low with regard to positives. And our staff numbers have been very low. Always like to give kind of the data update related to the numbers that come to us from Columbus Public Health and Franklin County Public Health. This is data that we received yesterday in our weekly meeting. And the first one shows cases that have decreased by 22%. This is a positive number because last week when we were looking at it, it had actually increased by 4%. So the decrease is positive, and to decrease by that percentage is definitely headed in the right direction. Our cases per capita are down as well, just slightly. Last week we were at 230 per 100,000, but it has gone down to 215. The positivity rate is also down to 5.4% from last week reporting at 5.8%. So that's a positive for us. On our call this week, they did share that they anticipate dropping to red this week. We were seeing some decreases, but because of the way the county alert levels are run, you have to stay in purple for 2 weeks because you have to have decreases for 2 weeks. And so they are anticipating that we will drop to red tomorrow. So that's certainly a positive. I do want to go back to this slide just because I mentioned the county alert level. We always like to just clarify and put out there that the colors of our district of our county assigned by the county alert levels do not correlate to our learning model decisions. And so, it's something we continue to monitor. It's definitely a data point and a factor that we are constantly discussing. But those thresholds that our task force set related to our district data is really what drives those conversations. So just like to reiterate that point. And then this slide just highlights some information related to our vaccinations and antigen testing. We were thrilled to be able to offer the COVID-19 vaccine clinic at our high school. 286 students were vaccinated, and so they will receive their second dose next Friday. We did have some backups with the process, so that's something that we are definitely reflecting on. We also have learned, though, that we have many students that had already gotten the vaccine or were getting the vaccine from other locations. So though we don't have a definitive number, we are confident that we do have more of our 16 to 18-year-old students that have been vaccinated. As far as the antigen tests are concerned, we have passed out 168 tests as of today, and that's a significant increase from last week. I think we were only at 32. And so that's definitely something that families are taking advantage of. We do have new protocols where families can use the antigen test to decrease the quarantine of their students. They, if tested on day 5 of their quarantine, and it is a negative result, that would allow them to reduce their quarantine to 7 days. But the important thing to point out, though, is that that is not the case. We cannot use antigen tests for reducing the quarantine if they were a close contact to a positive individual. In that instance, we would only be able to accept a negative PCR test to reduce that, that quarantine. So, we continue to work through that with families as it comes up. And certainly you can see we have many families taking advantage of the fact that we have the antigen tests available. So that's a positive. But I think all in all, just that last kind of text box, we just encourage our staff, students, and families to consider being vaccinated if they haven't already done so, because that certainly weighed into some of our positive data for sure. So that concludes the specific information related to COVID. Burl, I know you're the Lone Ranger out there related to, or with regard to the board, but any questions? Sure, absolutely.
One question, actually, it's about the Binax rapid tests that we have. So as of now, what does our supply look like? If we've given out 168, I can't remember how many we started with and where we are.
Yeah, so I was talking with Mari today. She handles the passing out of those kits, and we started with 450, okay. And so we've got 282 left. But we are able to get more, I believe. Is that correct, Mr. Barrett?
Yeah, we're actually picking up more tomorrow.
Okay,
and,
so
we'll be picking up from the EMA Center. The ESC is communicating this with districts, and we're going to be able to pick up 1% of our aggregate teachers and students combined. So we're looking at 900 to 1,000.
That is wonderful, because I have been told that some of the places that were doing rapid testing are no longer doing rapid testing because they are now selling the kits. And what I guess my second question is, what are we doing to make sure that our buildings know that these are, I know that we've put it out in our Friday newsletter, but I have heard that buildings don't necessarily know, so that, for example, on the list of one symptom being present, triggering being sent home, is a new runny nose, and it's allergy season. I know that there are lots of students that are being sent home that really all they need to do is do the rapid test to confirm that it's not COVID. What are we doing to make sure that our buildings know to tell those families that they can get a kit from us?
Sure. So our nurses who have, that direct contact with our families in working through the quarantine and the contact tracing process are all well informed and aware that we have those kits. I think we can follow up. We actually have an administrators meeting tomorrow, so we can follow up just to touch base on, making sure all that information is being communicated clearly. But I know the nurses are sharing it with families. Maybe not always across the board.
Well, I just think there was a little confusion, because I know at first there's a few things. At first we had a limited supply, and then we had the change direction from Franklin County Public Health. And then the COVID task force kind of together made a decision that we were going to allow the use of the rapid tests in that scenario where there's not any close contact, there's no known exposure, it's just symptoms. So I think that there's still a little bit of confusion that that the nurses can tell families that those kits are available.
Okay. And Sue did just text me, and she clarified that secretaries and clinic aides also know that we have those, and are hopefully sharing with families. But we can follow up on all of that tomorrow for sure, just to make sure that those are made available for families that would like them.
Yeah, that would be great. And again, the reason that I bring it up is because I know that some of the places like CVS, for example, a lot of their locations are no longer doing the rapid test. They're only doing PCR now. And I suspect it's because they're selling the rapid kits. So if we have them, let's get them to people who need them.
Okay, absolutely.
I believe the state bought 2 million. So it's, I think we should be able to replenish as we need them, hopefully.
Okay, so I will add that to my note for the admin meeting tomorrow. And then I think if you don't have any other questions, Burl, then we're ready to kind of transition into some high-level information about our summer programming. And Tia, do you want to go ahead and share your screen, or do you want me to share? You got it. Okay, perfect.
I probably should unmute also. Hello, everyone. Let me get this up here. Okay. So thank you for having me this evening to kind of talk through some of our summer learning experiences and just to give you guys an idea of where this came from. So this started, typically we do summer offerings in a traditional setting where we have Journey to Learning. Last year, we were able to do it virtually, which was a new experience. It kind of led us into the way that this year was going, but I was glad, we were pleased that we were still able to connect with kids over the summer. Experience with everyone being face-to-face is the best. Did I break up? I feel like it froze. Sorry. I got
Yeah, just for a quick second.
Okay, good. Hopefully there shouldn't be any issues. But this started with, we submitted our extended learning plan to the State Department of Education back on April 1st, I believe, that just kind of outlined our thinking on how to support students for the remainder of this year while we have them in person, as well as into the summer. And we're continuing to develop the plans for next year to help to close the gaps and really get them back up and running with school, since it's been so crazy this year. As I had mentioned before, I think it might have blipped out, but we are excited about doing our traditional summer school in person this year. We will be at Chapel Field Elementary, Middle School West, in the high school for our Journey to Learning. And then, as it says, we will continue to develop into what next year looks like. Speaking specifically about Journey to Learning, registration is open now. It opened on the 19th and it stays open until June 9th. And we offer classes for pre-K through 8th grade in our Journey to Learning. And then for high school, makeup credit, as well as new credit for speech, PE, and health. I will say we've got some good enrollment right now. So far, we have 282 registered for our pre-K through 8. And our high school enrollment for the makeup is still coming along because, you know, that is for students who need an extra opportunity to be able to earn credit. So we're still working on, and helping them through the school year, but our speech, our PE, and our health classes are full. So that's exciting that, you know, those classes were filled up and students have that opportunity to earn the new credit. Other courses that we are offering, we're doing math and reading again this year since we're able to be in person, whereas last year we were only able to focus on reading. We have a pre-K experience, we have a kindergarten enhancement experience, and then we have our EL English learner classes that we're offering. And then the makeup classes in algebra, geometry, English 9 through 12, US history, biology, and government. All of the information for our summer school, the traditional Journey to Learning, is located on our website. And there's actually on the main page of the website there, the very first link is for summer school, and it takes you to the information for summer school registration, the class descriptions, and those kinds of things. The other thing that I wanted to point out here, within our summer school, we're excited about partnering with the Ohio History Connection and being able to bring some of those experiences into the summer school classes. They offer virtual field trips, as well as different activities that help just kind of some skill building around historical investigation. So we're excited to kind of incorporate that into our summer school programming this year, as well as a partnership that we have maintained over the years with the Gahanna branch of the Columbus Metropolitan Library, where they not only make books available for students, but also incentivize it with just their summer reading programs and things. And last year it was phenomenal that they opened it up and just gave us a whole ton of books. I think each kid was able to get about 5 books that they were able to have for the summer and then return upon their leisure. And now they're going to make their catalogs available for us again. So really excited to continue that partnership. Now, in addition to our traditional summer school, we also were looking for ways to offer some more experiential learning just to really get kids back up, because we also know that sometimes just kind of the traditional summer school isn't always enticing. So we were looking for other ways to partner and get different activities for kids. So we're excited this year that we're partnering with an organization called Jump Bunch, which kind of focuses on sports and fitness, but they bring like the skills and activities and agility through their programming. And so we're actually offering 2 camps with them. The superhero boot camp is for our K2 grades K through 2, and that's focused on superhero skills, because we need those, right? And then we have the ultimate ninja obstacle course for grades 3 through 5. And again, just working on, you know, the agility and the fitness, and, you know, getting through obstacles and working through challenges that keep them active and going. So we're excited about being able to offer that. We are also offering a journaling club that was actually presented by one of our staff members, and she's doing a mix of journaling and art to help build confidence and writing skills with the students. And so that'll be 4 days that she's going to offer some sessions for journaling. And then we are purchasing COSI Connect kits, which is like a a 5-day kit filled with STEM activities. The one that we have is centered around space investigation. And so it'll be a week-long experience for students to really just dive into some STEM activities with a focus on space, and really get into that exploration. And then Junior Achievement offers a virtual camp, a virtual camp on the business of social impact that's geared more towards our middle and high school students. And essentially what they're doing is helping students to understand how businesses impact their community and have a social impact in their community. And so they'll incorporate entrepreneurship skills and that impact and that community engagement piece within their time. And that's a 3-day experience with Junior Achievement. And so then lastly, what we're excited about, so, if the experiences aren't the way to go, or if students don't want to attend the summer school, we are excited that we're still able to provide access to many of our digital tools throughout the whole summer. So for elementary, that's our Lexia Core 5, which is our reading program that they've been using all year, and Dreambox, which supports math. And then also Literacy Footprints, which is a digital reader for our primary, so our pre-K 2 students can access text through the Literacy Footprints. Then we have Newsella, which is it's an online platform to access different articles, current events, and activities more geared towards our middle and high school students. And then Sora is open K-12, and it is another digital reader which gives students access to a number of ebooks and audiobooks. There are several books that we have purchased this year to support our distance learning so that they would have access to, but I also found out through Sora that they are also releasing 1,000 titles that are just free access for students over the summer. So it will be another platform for them to read if they don't have access to the physical books. So we're excited about just being able to provide those opportunities, whether students come in with us or if they're at home, they still have ways to engage with their learning throughout the summer. And with that, I open it up to questions. Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. I did say I was going to open up, but one more thing. Registration information for the experiential learning opportunities will be released on Monday. So summer school is already released, and registration is in full swing there. And then there's just some final tweaks on details that we have for the experiential learning, and that will be released on Monday for registration. Now, questions.
Tia, I would add that this summer we are excited to be able to offer all of these experiences for free to our families.
That's a good point.
And so, that's something that we are able to do because we have the additional ESSER funds that have been provided to the district. So one of the things we wanted to make sure we were able to do is provide these experiences for free for our families, so that there wasn't a barrier, to helping to try and fill these gaps that have been created from the pandemic.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. That information is located on our Journey to Learning registration that's out, and it will be on the experiential learning as well.
It's so exciting to see. I was so looking forward to seeing some of the experiential learning opportunities. I mean, the regular summer school offerings are wonderful, but I was really anxious to hear what you had been able to put together as far as experiential learning opportunities. I think those are a fantastic opportunity for our kids in the district. It's wonderful that we have the federal funding so that those opportunities are free for students. I would love if we could figure out a way to keep experiential learning opportunities available every year, because I know every student learns differently. It's just nice to be able to have, especially at a time like in the summer when they're not in the classroom, to be able to have those opportunities is just a wonderful opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure you wish the same, that we had the federal funding that lasted. It would be great though. I don't know what other options there are to fund programs like that, but
Well, I will, if I can, just to jump in, because one of the things that, I mean, there are a number of things that we have learned throughout this year, but even as we have been processing and making different connections with community partners on how we could bring these experiences to life, it has helped us to see how we can potentially reshape and restructure our traditional summer school to be more of the experiential, have those opportunities and still connect to the academic support that's needed. So we are excited as a team also to be able to kind of really process what summer school can become from this. And this was a good starter for us for sure. So we will be working on that.
I think that's wonderful. I also think it's great. I know some of the digital tools, I'm guessing that we're still able to offer them in the summer just based on the length of the subscriptions. I have no idea what you all are thinking as far as what to keep, what not to keep going forward, but it's nice to have, especially in the summer, to have those digital offerings that the kids are already used to using on their own available to them. If somebody can convince them to get on and do at least just a little bit, so there's not that complete nothingness of the summer. So I think that's great too. I don't think I have any other questions. I mean, it'll be exciting on Monday when our parents and families get to see what those offerings look like. The partnerships are great too. I mean, with the Ohio History Connection and with the library, I think those are really, I mean, they have great resources. It's nice that we're able to partner with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have any other questions. Is there anything else that
That's all
we
I
wanted
have.
to talk about tonight?
I don't think so.
Okay, I think this was the quickest. I'm not even going to say it. Never mind. I won't say it.
It was a good meeting.
It was a good meeting. Yes.
It was thorough and expedient.
And lots of good information.
Lots of good info.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
With us and anyone who happens to be watching.
Yes. Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a
Have
good
a good
night.
evening.
Thank
See
you.
ya.